Hi, my name is Chelsea Cohen. I am the co-founder of SoStocked.com. And I built SoStocked because I was trying to solve a problem in my own business and didn't find anything out there. So I have talked to hundreds of 7- and 8-figure sellers and really understood what the best practices for inventory management are and put those into an automated tool. So I want to talk to you about those inventory management best practices and how SoStocked helps to address those. So we have built SoStocked on an adjusted velocity logic. So instead of using the total monthly sales, what you should be using is a daily velocity adjusted to remove anomalies such as sales spikes and stockouts. So what that looks like in the software is that you have the ability to adjust your velocity based on the date range that you would like to use. But then you have the ability to go in and ensure that any stockouts or any sales spikes or deep discounts are being removed. We can verify whether a stockout has occurred because you've been out of inventory, but we can also look at stockout patterns and identify when your sales are significantly lower than the average. So if they're 30% or less than the daily average, it's going to be flagged as a potential stockout. You have the ability to decide whether it's a stockout or not, but this helps to catch things such as suspensions where you have inventory in stock at Amazon, but you stopped making sales because your listing was shut down, for example. Then we have sales spikes, and you can locate times when you sold 150% of your average daily sales for the period. You can decide to include or exclude all data, and you can come in and simply cherry pick which information you want to exclude from your forecasting. This becomes very important because you want to use the information based on last year's sales, but you stocked out, you're going to repeat the same mistakes twice, right? So we have averages, not monthly totals. We also want to be able to have the option to use last year's sales. And then if you did happen to stock out, it's going to take an average and it's going to replace that time period of the stock out with what you should have sold if you had not stocked out. Lastly, you'll be able to override with a manual velocity if that's needed, especially for things like launches. The next thing that you want to do is you want to add a buffer stock. So it's like a false zero. It's like an alert that you get so that you are sending inventory in before you hit a stock out. For example, if your buffer stock is 250 units, you'll get an alert to order so that by the time your inventory hits Amazon, you will have 250 units left, not zero. So you can set your buffer stocks based on a number of days or based on a number of units. Number of days is preferred, however, as it's going to fluctuate based on your inventory needs for that time period. So if you have a high season and a low season, you'll be able to have a buffer stock that fluctuates based on those settings. Now we have something called MinMax Restocking. MinMax Restocking is being able to set a range of your high point and your low point for your inventory. This makes it very easy to understand how much to order and by when. It's great for VAs. You use the setting of order as needed, and then you can set your buffer stock. For example, 30 days of buffer stock at FBA and 90 days maximum. You can also set a buffer stock for your warehouse. And that's going to give you the total amount of stock you're going to order. So what that does is it creates a pattern. So you're going to be told to send in 90 days worth of stock, then you're going to sell through, and then you're going to be told to ship so that by the time your new shipment arrives, you're hitting your buffer stock right when it arrives. And then of course you'll be stocked back up to your 90 days, and then you'll stock down to your 30 days, but you'll always stay within that range. Now we go into the inventory timeline. This can be a game changer because it helps you to visualize your sales and inventory patterns over time. So you can see that we've got this timeline here. It shows the daily velocity, it shows the inventory at Amazon, it shows your warehouse inventory, and it shows you when you're supposed to transfer. When you're getting into forecasting your inventory, you're really forecasting, if you have a warehouse, at least 2 forecasts simultaneously. And if you're able to do express shipments, you're actually wanting to forecast 3 different forecasts for every single SKU at all times. So you can see that for each product, we have a transfer forecast and we have an order forecast. Now, if we have an express lead time and we're running short, we would get an express lead time forecasting, which will allow us to figure out how much we need to send by express versus how much we need to send by regular shipment. Now I want to talk about forecast modeling. Forecast modeling is important. This is something that our inventory software was based on because it's not just past data that you need to include in your inventory management and your projections. You also need to include your future marketing plans. And that's one of the biggest places that I see people fall down, is not including their marketing plans into their forecasting. So we have several tools inside of SoStocked that will allow you to add your marketing plans into your inventory planning. And you can see them appearing in the inventory timeline. So one of the things that we have is our future lightning deals. You can set a date range and the total number of units that you plan to sell, and that will help to project your future inventory need based on those sales. This can be used for things like email marketing as well. And then we have seasonal sales spikes. So if you want to add a boost to a specific period of time, you just set the date range, give the spike a name, and then a percentage. You can also do seasonal depressions. So if you wanted to do a decrease, all you would have to do is create a minus, and then it's going to show you the new velocity based on that negative percentage. You can always apply this to one SKU at a time or across your entire catalog. And lastly, if you wanted to add additional sales growth to an individual SKU or to your entire catalog, you can do that as well. So then we have something called sync to scale. Sync to scale is very important because it's basically talking about how you need to take your marketing, inventory, and cash flow and make it a cohesive machine. Right now, there's a lot of focus on marketing in sort of a vacuum. And so the biggest mistake that Amazon sellers tend to make is that they are marketing without considering the impact on inventory. So you need to take your marketing plans, put them into your inventory planning, and that'll move along into your cash flow planning, which then completes the circle and it goes back into marketing, and you're able to scale a lot better when you have these 3 pieces working together as one cohesive machine. So I like to say that a good marketing plan can turn bad fast when it is so successful that it causes you to stock out. So common marketing stock out mistakes are things like you have a successful PPC ad campaign that goes so well that it stocks you out. Discount coupon email campaigns that you send out one month and then you start stocking out the next month. That is especially costly because you just gave product away for, say, a 20% coupon discount when you could have sold it at full price, stayed in stock, and kept your ranking. That's why putting marketing tools into your inventory planning is extremely important. I like to say that an inventory-based business, when you're out of inventory, you're out of business. And then that feeds into cash flow. So your ability to scale is directly proportionate to the intelligent utilization of capital. So you want to make sure that you have enough capital to afford your inventory purchases. Lastly, I wanted to talk about the new changes that have gone on with the inventory performance index and any limitations that Amazon might have put on your inventory. So this is something that we have pulled from the Amazon API, and we're able to isolate what your total restock limit is. We're able to isolate how much inventory you have allocated to that limit. This doesn't just include your inventory, it also includes anything you have shipping in. So you will see that this product has 338 units in Amazon available inventory, and it has 1,300 units in Amazon Reserve. That's minus customer orders. But then it also includes anything that has been shipped into Amazon FBA, because Amazon is going to count that as inventory against your limits. And then they're going to assign a maximum ship quantity based on what you have left after all of that inventory has been accounted for. And so that is the only amount you are allowed to ship. And now there are settings in SoStocked that allow you to choose to use your your restock limit as the limit for sending into Amazon. And lastly, you need to be able to track all of your orders. So you need to know what's in production, you need to know what's en route, you need to know what is arriving to your warehouse, and you need to account for all of these things. So you can create purchase orders inside of the software, and you can send these purchase orders directly to your supplier. Lastly, you need to know where everything is. So we have a variety of dashboards that tell you what you have, where it's at, where your inbound shipments are, what inventory you have on hand, any future stockouts that might be occurring, and also the ability to filter all of your data, add any columns that you need in each individual report, move these columns around, and save these as individual new dashboards so that every piece of information that you need is simply a few clicks away. So when you're looking for an Amazon inventory solution, these are the things that you need it to fulfill for you. You need to make sure that it removes sales spikes, that it removes stockouts, that you can factor in things like lightning deals, that you can project seasonality, that you can track all of your orders and all of your transfers, get reorder alerts, and then manage your FBA, 3PL, and on-order or inbound inventory all in one place. So I really built SoStocked to take these inventory management best practices and to really incorporate them into one tool that is automated, that is fully understandable, that is fully customizable, and that really solves these inventory management issues that Amazon sellers keep seeming to have, and that really cuts down on the amount of time it takes to handle inventory management. So I hope you give it a try. And if you have any questions at all, feel free to reach out to me at stock@sostocked.com.